Morning. Let's kick off things this Halloween morning with some late college football action from last night. Arizona is the only Pac-10 team that has never played in the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day. The Wildcats were in Pasadena last night to face the Bruins, the most difficult opponent left on the Wildcats schedule, and they hope to get back to the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day. The Bruins struck first. Wayne Cook hits J.J. Stokes for a 36-yard score, 7-0 Bruins. In the second, backup quarterback Brady Batten, in for Dan White, who left with an injury, is picked off by Marvin Goodwin. The Wildcats offense was struggling all night long, and the turnover set up Cook, who hits Kevin Jordan in the end zone. A 14-yard strike, 20-zip UCLA. The second half, more of the same. Arizona just couldn't hang on to the ball. Chuck Levy goes up the middle, coughs it up. UCLA recovers. That set up another UCLA touchdown. They got 27 points on 5 Arizona touchdowns and went on to win by a final of 37-17. The most points allowed by Arizona's Desert Swarm defense since allowing 40 to Washington State back in '91. J.J. Stokes caught 6 passes for 99 yards. He's now the Bruins' all-time touchdown reception leader with 21. There's now a 3-way tie for the lead in the Pac-10 between UCLA, Arizona, and USC. The Bruins face the Trojans on November 20th. A real battle in the Pac-10, or rather the Big Ten, between Michigan and Wisconsin. 38 seconds left to go in the first half. Wisconsin up by 3. That's Terrell Fletcher on the 12-yard touchdown run. Badgers up 13-3. Michigan's final possession, and Todd Collins is brought down. Wisconsin wins by a final of 13-10. After the game, Badger fans celebrate, climbing the goalpost and storming the field, going over a fence, and 75 were injured, many serious. Why did it happen? Well, here's one opinion.
They were holding them back, so people just pushed and shoved. They did it last year. I was here last year. And they're holding them back, and people just trampled everybody to get on and over the fence. They should just open the fences and let the people on the field.
Or the people should just stay off the field. It is the first time since 1981 that the Badgers have beaten the Wolverines. Brent Moss with his 7th consecutive 100-yard game. Michigan falls to 2-3 in the Big Ten. In all, 68 fans who were injured in the post-celebration at Randall Stadium were taken to the hospital. 11 remain in the hospital this morning. 1 is listed in critical condition, 3 in good, and 7 in fair condition. Unfortunately, this is just the latest in a series of ugly incidents involving so-called celebrations. After the Cowboys won the Super Bowl, 50 were injured. 168 were hurt following Montreal's Stanley Cup victory, and 3 died in the mayhem following the Bulls' three-peat. A sure sign that winter is not far off, the final pro golf event of the season, the lucrative Tour Championship. Only the top 30 money winners who are regular tour members get invitations. Not only is a huge winner's purse up for grabs, $540,000 to be exact, but so is the season's scoring title and, of course, the earnings lead. To yesterday's third-round action, this is David Frost. His approach on the 10th almost lands in the trap, but he's living right. Gets the good bounce, rolls toward the pin. He shot a 69 yesterday, but there was plenty of players behind Frost. Rick Fear on the 12th. It's in there for a birdie. Greg Norman, the White Shark,
from 116
on 18.
Yards, a wedge shot.
His approach comes oh so close to the pin. He shot a 68, and he's back in the hunt. And heading into today's final round, David Frost has a 2-stroke lead over Greg Norman. 4 golfers are 5 under, 3 shots back. Tom Kite is alone at 4 under. Corey Pavin is even par. Defending champion Paul Azinger is 2 over, so is Nick Price. Fred Couples is now 3 over, and Payne Stewart +5. More lucrative leaderboard right here. Nick Price with a record $1,419,757 in earnings. Paul Azinger is a mere $17,701 behind. Now remember, $540,000 goes to the winner of the Tour Championship today. The second-place finisher will have to make do with $340,000. Impressive dollar figures, unless you're a pro boxer, of course. Last night in Phoenix, Olympic gold medalist Oscar De La Hoya looked to keep his perfect record intact in a junior lightweight bout, while undefeated Michael Carbajal was out to defend his junior flyweight titles. And Oscar De La Hoya was good in his fight. Carbajal against Domingo Sosa, receiving end of an accidental head bunt. It resulted in a nasty cut, but Carbajal would dominate the fight. 4th round, He lands a combination on Sosa. In the 5th round, the referee steps in and stops the fight. Carvajal wins by a TKO. To the NBA, and more bad news for the Warriors. Chris Mullin forced to leave Saturday's game with Seattle. He's holding his right pinky. It was diagnosed with a torn ligament. He will miss at least 6 weeks. Golden State went on, though, to beat Seattle last night. In San Antonio, the Admiral going baseline. Robinson had 26. John Lucas's team showing a little razzle-dazzle. Dennis Rodman behind the back to Dale Ellis. The Spurs win by 3. On the ice, Vincent Danfus, a big game for Montreal in the 2nd. He bats home a rebound past Felix Potvin. Game tied at 1. Then later in the 2nd, Danfus on the wraparound beats Potvin top shelf. Canadiens lead 3-1 in the 3rd. Danfus again picks up a rebound and beats Potvin. A hat trick. Montreal beats Toronto 5-2. And in Pittsburgh, Pens down 3-2 in the 3rd. But Jaromir Jagr, the touch pass to Joey Mullen. Game tied at 3. Then less than 4 minutes to play. It's Mullen this time who feeds Jagr, who tucks it past Jeff Hackett. Pens score 3 in the 3rd. Come on to win by a final of 4-3. Now for the rest of Saturday's results on the ice. We certainly are glad you decided to join us this Halloween morning, and we have a little bit of everything for you. More boxing. We'll look ahead to the Bo Holyfield rematch, and also plenty from the college ranks and the NFL as well. It was anchors away for a while, but in the end, Notre Dame ship came in against Navy. That and a great deal more when Sunday Sports Day continues in a moment.
One of these engines was filled with Castrol Syntec, a synthetic oil, the rest with conventional oils. They were then drained and started without oil to prove a point. You see, Syntec has a unique molecular structure that bonds to engine parts. Lab tests show it leaves a layer of protection far stronger than conventional oils. And if Syntec protects this well now, imagine if you leave it in. Castrol Syntec protects in ways other oils can't.
The 3M Filtrete Clean Air Filter gets more of the small stuff that's in your air out. Stuff an ordinary furnace and air conditioner filter would miss. Like more of the dust, more of the pollen and mold, more of these particles that could irritate your allergies. It even gets more animal dander. Try the Filtrete Clean Air Filter. It gets more of the aggravating things in your air out. Even smoke. Look for the 3M Filtrete Clean Air Filter wherever you buy furnace or air conditioner filters.
Owens Corning presents an exciting debut, Pink Plus, a new insulation that's silky to the touch. The reason? Pink Plus is our famous pink fiberglass insulation wrapped in smooth pink poly, which also makes it extra easy to install. So get in touch with a premier insulation. For the Pink Plus dealer nearest you, call 1-800-GET-PINK.
Nokia. It remembers because it's human to forget.
Maria?
Nokia. Connecting people.
Sports Weekly is brought to you by Nokia, the second largest manufacturer of cellular phones in the world. By Owens Corning. Make energy savings a touch easier with new Pink Plus insulation. And by Filtrete Clean Air Filters from 3M.
And back to college football. We only have to wait 2 more weeks until the showdown in South Bend between top-ranked Florida State and number 2 Notre Dame. The Irish could be accused of looking ahead to that matchup, but the Seminoles were definitely focused on their opponent yesterday, Wake Forest, the latest opponent for Charlie Ward and company. Direct snap to Warwick Dunn, who scoots up the middle. 63 yards. The Seminoles cruised 54-0. But some bad news for the Noles. Quarterback Charlie Ward is sandwiched. He left the game with bruised ribs and would not return. The Noles play Maryland next week. Navy scared Notre Dame in the first half. Jimmy Screen catches the pass over the middle and goes for 53 yards. Middies left 24-17 at the half. The Irish pounded Navy, though, in the second half. Jim Kubiak's pass deflects into the hands of Bobby Taylor. He goes 31 yards. Notre Dame wins, going away 58-27. Ohio State hosting Penn State. Buckeye quarterback Brett Powers rolls and hits Joey Galloway for a diving 25-yard catch. Ohio State still undefeated, 8-0. They win 24-6. Ron Dickerson's Temple Owls at Miami. Ryan Collins can scramble. Will go 51 yards for 6. He ran for 2 touchdowns and passed for 2. Miami pounds Temple 42-7. To the SEC, Bama at home against Southern Miss. Brian Bergdorf finds David Palmer in the corner of the end zone. Palmer had 8 receptions, tied rolls 40-0. Nebraska, Colorado for an important Big 8 game. Husker quarterback Tommy Frazier throws 60 yards to Corey Dixon. Nebraska wins 21-17, now 4-0 in the Big 8. South Carolina versus Tennessee, no contest for the Vols. James Stewart scores one of his 2 touchdowns, this one from 52 yards out. Tennessee humbles the Gamecocks 55-3. Undefeated Auburn at Arkansas. Brian Robinson intercepts an Arkansas pass and returns at 35 yards. Auburn wins by 10. Tigers now 8-0. Georgia trailing Florida by 7. 5 seconds left. Now watch the official in the upper portion of your screen. He signals a timeout. Georgia's Eric Zier throws a touchdown pass, but remember, timeout. Next play, Zier's pass into the corner of the end zone is incomplete, but the flag is thrown. Pass interference on the Gators. Dogs get one more play. Zier's pass behind Jeff Thomas. Game finally over. Florida sweats it out, 33-26. BYU and Utah State battle through the air. Cougars' John Walsh finds Tyler Anderson for a 93-yard score. Walsh threw for a school record 619 yards. But his team lost. In the fourth, Utah State's Anthony Cavillo finds Aubrey Thompson his 5th touchdown pass of the game. Utah State outlasts BYU 58-56. Now for other top 25 scores from across the country. You know, Bino Cook can't wait to have his say about yesterday's exciting college football action. So what do you say we go back to Dick Schaap in New York? Dick?
Robin, I can't wait to get to Bino. Bino, Florida State, Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Nebraska all remained unbeaten and untied yesterday. How many of those Big Four do you think will make it through the season unscathed?
Through the season, I think Nebraska will make it, and I think the winner of the Notre Dame-Florida State will make it. I would say Notre Dame. Ohio State has to go to Wisconsin and has to go to Michigan and has Indiana at home. I don't think they can, but I don't think they will win all 3 of those games.
Of those 4 teams, which one is the biggest surprise to you?
Well, Ohio State, because of the failure in the last couple of years of Ohio State to win. Ohio State has material, but I don't think anybody imagined they would be 8-0 at this time. Maybe 6-2, 8-0, but of those teams, that's the biggest surprise. Nebraska usually has 7-8 wins by the 1st of October.
The other undefeated team I haven't mentioned, West Virginia, how big a surprise are they?
Well, they got a quarterback, Jake Kelchner, who went to Notre Dame the same year Rick Meyer went. That shows you how much material Notre Dame has. Here's a kid that people are going to hear about by the end of the year. He's an outstanding quarterback, will be in the NFL for 10 years. Well, I thought Syracuse was going to beat West Virginia, but West Virginia is very, very good. But 2 road games in November, 1 road game, Boston College late, and then Miami in Morgantown before the BC game. That's going to be a very good game.
Well, it's nice of you to admit that you did think Syracuse was going to beat West Virginia, but weren't you the only person in the country who picked Kansas and Kansas State to beat Oklahoma and Oklahoma State on the same day?
What a parlay. I mean, who would ever thought that would happen? Kansas State is one of the surprise teams of the year, maybe the best coaching job in college football this year. Kansas State winning that game. They weren't a big underdog, but they did beat Oklahoma. I guess it was a great party last night in Manhattan.
Let's take a look at your top 5. I don't imagine any great changes from last week, but show us who you like.
Well, number 5 still remains the same, Auburn. Georgia in a couple weeks, and then they play Alabama at home, but I'm keeping them at number 5. Nebraska, number 4. Number 3 will be Ohio State. Number 2, Notre Dame. And I want to point out that somebody on television on NBC said Notre Dame is a bunch of overachievers. Here's a school that gets more material than anybody in the world. How can you call them overachievers? And, of course, the obvious choice, Florida State. It took me a while to come around, but I did. Florida State, number 1.
If the fellow on NBC who said that was Todd Christensen, can I arrange a little match between you and Todd?
Todd is very good on Sunday. Stick to Sunday, Todd. Believe me. Overachievers, you never used that word for Notre Dame in football.
Thank you, Vino. And back to you, Robin.
Well, gentlemen, more boxing still to come and news from the NFL. But when we come back, a man with a body built for the NFL. However, this week, Chicago made sure Frank Thomas will be wearing a White Sox uniform for many years to come. I don't know if Mike Piazza's Sports Center fantasy ever came true, but he still provided us with plenty of highlights this season. We'll tell you about all the postseason awards that were handed out this week next.
The 94 Chevy Blitz is on at your Central Iowa Chevy dealer with the best selection of full-size pickups anywhere. This rugged, dependable truck offers plenty of power with an optional 350 V8 engine for heavy hauling. And Chevys are built tougher with more anti-rust galvanized steel than Ford. Plus, 94's extended cab is the roomiest full-size pickup ever made with seating for 6 full-size adults. If you want the best truck, get yours during the 94 Chevy Blitz, only at your Central Iowa Chevy dealer.
What's your active endeavor? Active Endeavors offers a wide variety of apparel and accessories to outfit your active endeavors and is Iowa's largest Patagonia dealer. Active Endeavors, where your outdoor adventures begin. Downtown Iowa City and University and 35th in West Des Moines.
I really get a pump jumping out of balloons with bungee cords on or riding a motorcycle at 100 miles an hour with my head tucked over the handlebars, not being able to see anything. That is definitely an adrenaline high. Knowing that your life hangs this far between life and death. You know, you get those endorphins popping, that incredible feeling, that rush. Kind of like being on stage. It's definitely escapism. I never really experienced true Zen, but I'm hoping me and my Ducati will get there.
ESPN 2, people who do.
No doubt about it, the Toronto Blue Jays captured the biggest prize of this Major League season, another World Series title. Consolation prizes were awarded this week for managers and rookies of the year. Some races were tighter than others, but as Jack Edwards is about to tell us, there was no debate when it came down to the best rookie in the National League.
This week, Mike Piazza took his place among a long line of artful Dodgers. In a unanimous vote, the Los Angeles catcher became the 13th Dodger to win the National League Rookie of the Year award. Piazza brought some pizzazz to the Dodgers lineup, hitting .318 with 35 homers and 112 RBIs. Piazza, the 1,389th player taken in the 1988 amateur draft, hit more homers this year than any rookie catcher in the history of the league. For this Angel, being named the AL Rookie of the Year topped off a heavenly season.
To have the kind of year I had, you know, numbers-wise and the production that I had, I mean, you can't even describe. I mean, it's, you know, I did not expect that by the, you know, the furthest of my imaginations or dreams.
Salmon's dream season included setting a team rookie record of 31 homers along with 95 RBIs. He hit .283. October could have gone down as a giant disappointment for manager Dusty Baker, but his pick this week as NL Manager of the Year may take away some of the sting.
I wanted to be in the Hall of Fame in baseball as a player, but changed my my goals to try to be in the Hall of Fame someday as a player and manager combination, and this is the first step.
In 1992, Baker's team was 26 games out of first place, winning only 72 times. This season, the Giants won 103, and they were in the hunt for the National League West Championship right until the final day of the season. Gene Lamont socked his way to the top, winning his first American League Manager of the Year award, battling to 94 wins before succumbing to the eventual world champion Toronto Blue Jays in the ALCS. Then there's White Sox first baseman Frank Thomas, who's going to sock away a lot more money, having just signed a $29 million four-year contract extension. The contract could bring Thomas $43 million for 6 seasons, making him the second highest paid player behind San Francisco's Barry Bonds. Thomas clubbed 41 homers, a club record this year. He hit .317 with 128 runs batted in.
Many teams opted not to offer salary arbitration to some notable players. In fact, you could fill a team, and not a bad one at all, with those who were rejected. Jack Morris had a rough go in Toronto this time around. In the outfield, fellow Jay, Ricky Henderson, the all-time leader in stolen bases, is now a free agent. Ricky said he wouldn't rule out returning to Oakland. Mario Lemieux returned to the Pittsburgh Penguins this week. We'll have more on Super Mario's return to the ice next. We'll also relive the madness, Midnight Madness, as the college basketball season is officially underway. Back in a moment.
Diamond Crystal knows there's nothing like pure, clear water. That's why Diamond Crystal makes some of the most advanced water softener salts you can buy. Make your water special with Diamond Crystal.
I know. Say we didn't get the package.
Martha!
Tom! Did you get our package?
Gee, it never got here.
Really?
Introducing tracking software from Federal Express.
It was delivered to your place at 9:22 a.m.
Ah! Probably stuck in the mailroom.
No, it was signed for by your partner, Brian.
Now you can track packages right from your computer on your desk.
Brian, are you there?
Oh, that package, Martha. We could negotiate a deal at this.
My ultimate ESPN SportsCenter highlight goes like this. Loose ball in the end zone. Fall on it, no chance. My feet are light, and I've got the moves. At the 50, I see Myers. Not now, Chris. I'm a busy man. And as I cross the goal line, I laugh, knowing my agent has just cut a deal for my very own fitness video. Yeah, that's my SportsCenter highlight.
We begin our look back on the week in the boxing ring. Remember in February when Ray Mercer lost a unanimous decision to Jesse Ferguson and $1 million payday with Riddick Bowe in the process? Or 4 months later when Mike Dixon stunned Alex Garcia, ending his 20-fight winning streak? Well, all that paled in comparison to what Tommy Morrison did in the ring Friday night. Tommy Morrison was in line for a fight with Lennox Lewis and a $7.5 million payday. Michael Bent had other ideas. Bent knocked Morrison down 3 times in the first round and stunned the WBO champion with a technical knockout. After the fight, Bent said it was like tat-a-tat boom. Morrison's reaction, quote, "I zigged when I should have zagged." In a slightly longer fight, Vinny Pazienza improved to 4-0 in his comeback with a 10-round unanimous decision over Robbie Sims. Comebacks were the order of the week in hockey as well. Mario Lemieux returned after missing the Pens' first 10 games of the season. Lemieux handed out 2 assists in the Pens' 7-3 loss to Quebec. Alexander Mogilny rejoined the Sabres Wednesday and tallied the first period power play goal. Mogilny suffered a broken ankle in last year's playoffs. Returnees made news in hockey, signees in basketball. The Timberwolves signed top pick Isaiah J.R. Ryder from UNLV. Ryder was the final first-rounder to sign. Plenty of other future NBAers hit the court Friday night, and as usual, it was madness.
Welcome to Midnight Madness. I mean, hoop hysteria. You don't hear a lot about Larry. Oh, yes. Let's get this going. Salvadori. Oh, I think Kevin had too much lasagna. I think too much lasagna. Too much lasagna. Oh, he bricked it. He bricked it. And he told me he was going to be sensational.
If he makes that shot, Derek Kellogg's not starting. He is. Derek's the happiest man.
That's my idea. Oh, your idea. Sullivan,
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Dick Vitale is back already. Coming up next, Bobby Hebert was flying high in the Superdome again, this time for the Falcons. The NFL Weekend Review is next.
Friends and Family is a calling plan. It's a very simple program.
All you have to do is call us.
You give us the names.
The numbers that you call the most often.
You can have up to 20 members, but
you certainly don't have to have 20.
You can save an extra 20%.
To any of the MCI customers that are in your calling circle.
You save 7 days a week.
To every area code you call.
They can spend the same amount of money.
They talk longer to the friends and family that they like to keep in touch with.
It's something that everybody can be a part of.
Join MCI and Friends and Family and get $20 of free long distance. And after you've used your free calling, you'll still be with the company that makes it less expensive to stay in touch.
Sure. You've got a car, got a dog, even got some fun-loving friends. But have you got what it takes to be a mountain man? All it really takes are the 2 cool beers of the mountain man. Smooth bush beer and easy drinking bush light. So, be a mountain man. All you gotta do is head for the mountains.
Riddick Bowe defends his heavyweight title in a rematch against former champion Evander Holyfield. SportsCenter will be there all week with nightly reports, live weigh-in, plus pre- and post-fight coverage, beginning Monday on ESPN SportsCenter.
League officials got knocked around a bit for last Sunday's poor card of NFL games. The NFC East was off, and so was the AFC West, which meant no Cowboys or Eagles or Montana or Elway. But as Dan Patrick is about to show us in the NFL Weekend Review, some individuals stepped up last week to save the day.
Green Bay wide receiver Sterling Sharp cut up Tampa Bay on Sunday. Sharp went between the Bucs, around the Bucs, beyond the Bucs, and through the Bucs for 4 touchdowns among his 10 receptions. Sharp didn't stop there. He ran for 5 yards on one play and threw a 1-yard completion. Having just 1 touchdown reception in his previous 5 games, Jerry Rice ended his slump with a pair of scoring catches, and the Niners win over Phoenix. Revenge was sweet for former Saints QB Bobby Hebert. The Falcons' signal caller replaced injured Billy Joe Tolliver and hit on 2 scoring passes in leading his new team over his old one.
The team asked me to give him the game ball. And then the team asked for 2 game balls, one for him and one for Billy Joe for getting hurt. They said that really helped us.
T.J. Rubley really helped the Rams. The backup quarterback was brought in to replace a struggling Jim Everett and promptly threw a couple of TD passes in rallying the Rams to a near win against Detroit. The performance earned Rubley the start against San Francisco, ending Everett's streak of 87 consecutive regular season starts, longest among active QBs. Successful substitute quarterbacks are becoming the vogue this year. Scott Mitchell, playing in place of Dan Marino, completed 12 of 19 passes with 1 TD and running his record to 1-0 as a starter. But defense never goes out of style, especially in Buffalo. Linebacker Darryl Talley victimized Boomer Esiason and then raced untouched 61 yards for the touchdown. Bruce Smith made a diving interception of another Boomer miscue, and Talley and Smith teamed up for another takeaway. Smith knocked the ball loose. Talley pounced on it for the recovery. Buffalo down the Jets 19-10, making coach Bruce Coslett media unfriendly.
Well, what the excuse my French, cameras. What do you want me to say, guys? We got our asses whipped by a good football team, okay? Yeah, but it's always but. I say something and then you guys say but, okay? But what? Yeah, it sure is, and I'm tired of having to say it. But I'm not going to sit up here. I'm going to be exactly like Ronnie Lott. You're not going to get me to say that I don't think we're a good football team.
The Browns are a good football team, in part because of Eric Metcalf. Against Pittsburgh, Metcalf displayed some nifty moves, returning a punt 91 yards for a second-quarter score. But it was his 75-yarder that won the game for Cleveland with 2 minutes left.
Yeah, I kind of felt like Joe Carter.
But the Browns must now play on despite the loss of quarterback Vinny Testaverde. Testaverde is expected to miss 6 to 10 weeks after separating his right shoulder in just his second start for the Browns. Vinny may be out, but Tony Bennett is in. The league's final holdout signed a 1-year contract with the Packers on Wednesday to play linebacker for a reported $550,000. In other NFL news, the league awarded the 1997 Super Bowl to New Orleans and the 1998 championship game to San Diego. But Charlotte, North Carolina, got an even bigger prize.
I'm very pleased to announce that the Carolina Panthers have been unanimously selected as
The expansion Panthers will kick off in 1995, along with another NFL entry to be picked next month.
Even though we won't see Michael Jordan this season, this show must go on, not only for the Chicago Bulls, but for the entire league. Our preview of the NBA season is still to come. And coming up next, less than 2 years ago, Notre Dame swimmer Haley Scott could barely walk.
Why didn't you just hang it up?
That's just not who I am. I couldn't do that. I couldn't live wondering what I could have done.
The right hotel. The right welcome. The right answer. The right hand. The right pressure. The right release. The right way, the Wyndham way. Wyndham Hotels and Resorts.
At Ford Motor Company, we're already building vehicles that meet California's strict emission standards for the late 90s. We're the first U.S. manufacturer to build a car with CFC-free air conditioning. And we'll soon have a fleet of electric vehicles on the road. For us, designing quality cars and trucks means keeping an eye on the big picture.
At Ford, we understand that the quality of the environment is one of our greatest responsibilities.
Ford Motor Company, quality is job one. It's working.
Most of the floats at Mardi Gras are made right here at Blaine Kern Artists. They make things bigger than life. But for office supplies, they make one call to Office Depot. Office Depot takes care of business for millions of companies throughout North America. From Bourbon Street to Main Street, we guarantee low prices every day.
They asked us here at MCI to dig out these old phone books, and it rekindled a lot of memories, and we're inviting you to do the same thing.
Go through the same thing I just had to go through.
It might make you laugh, it might make you cry, but it'll be worth it in the end.
Look at those people that you haven't contacted in a while. Give them a call.
MCI will give you the time. Some free time to find these people and reminisce.
Now when you join MCI and Friends and Family, you get $20 of long-distance gift certificates. You can use them yourself or give them to a friend.
The sports world has seen such tragedy this year, which makes this next story even more special. Friday was an extremely emotional day for the Notre Dame swim team and its fans as Haley Scott returned to the pool. Haley's Comet makes a sparkling comeback every 75 years, but I guarantee you, none will ever be as miraculous as the comeback made by Haley Scott. Steve Cyphers reports from Notre Dame.
When she stepped to the starter's block, she looked and acted and thought like all the rest.
Quick start, quick turns, finish.
But anyone who knows her story knows Haley Scott is not at all like all the rest. It was January 24th, 1992. A bus carrying the women's swim team flipped into a ditch just a few miles from the Notre Dame campus. 2 were killed, and Haley Scott lay motionless in the snow.
I had a huge, like the size of my fist, bump in my back. And the vertebrae in front were crushed. One of them shattered. 2 of them were cracked and mangled.
Doctors inserted metal rods to stabilize her back, giving her a chance to walk. But swimming competitively, she was told, would never happen again. Haley didn't buy it. In the months that followed, her progress exceeded every expectation and every hope. More surgery, bone grafts to rebuild her spine, set her back. But last December, 11 months after the accident, Haley Scott went back in the pool.
Her emphasis is always on what do I do now, what do I do next, and never on look how hard this is, or, you know, there's not a feel sorry, cell in her body.
You could break her back, but not her will. For 10 months, she trained with one goal in mind, to race for Notre Dame.
Why didn't you just hang it up?
That's just not who I am. I couldn't do that. I couldn't live wondering what I could have done. I had to see what I could do.
She wasn't alone. Her parents, Steve and Charlotte, and her brother Steve had to see. And Ann Hipp, the mother of Colleen, who died in the accident, had to see too.
That's it, Haley! That's the hardest part. It's over. Let's go, Haley!
Welsh didn't coach Haley. He cheered her. Everyone did.
Let's go, Haley!
The pain and struggle of 21 months was over in 26 seconds. Haley Scott touched first.
I think I'll remember the end of the race, turning around, looking up, seeing my parents, my family, you know, up in the audience, seeing my whole team standing on the side of the pool. Just the people who were there, the people who had supported me throughout the whole thing.
Other swimmers in other heats were faster, but few noticed through the tears. Tears cried by everyone, it seems. Everyone but Haley Scott.
Happy birthday. I think I've done enough crying over the past 2 years. This is happy time.
In South Bend, Steve Cyphers, ESPN.
Haley was disappointed in her times, even though they have improved considerably over the past several weeks. Haley said for a long time she thought this would symbolize the end of her recovery, but it's really just the beginning now of the rest of her swimming career. We can all learn from that young woman. Don Shula has had quite a coaching career. He's just one victory away from tying Papa Bear. But how does Shula compare with other legendary coaches? We'll face off on the matter next.
Hello. I've just been looking at some of the eyewear offers. Are you confused where to buy your glasses? Come to Wiley's. For 3 generations, our first concern is you. With quality care, value, service, and understanding your specific needs. Wiley's honors most plans. Whether we're listed on your plan or not, there is no need to go elsewhere. We will service you. We wish to serve you. At Wiley's, you are the most important person. Come see us.
Great deals and service, yes. Value you deserve it, yes. Downtown auto dealers will make you happy, yes. 7 names you know the best. You cannot buy for less. Say yes, downtown is the best. We're open day and night to serve you better all through downtown. Yes. When you need to buy a car, yes. Come from north, south, east, or west. Say yes, because downtown is the best. Yes, 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 yes.
Sports night is a sportscaster's dream.
The idea is to put sports in a cultural context.
It's a chance to kind of break away from the mainstream.
I mean, it's no longer just going to a game or watching a game.
Something for the surfers, the skiers, the mountain bikers.
It's now a huge industry, huge effect on people's lives.
People who are really interested in sports, but not the typical sports.
Possibly huge revenues. For me personally, that's what I'm looking for.
Keith and Susie, Sports Night.
Welcome back to Sunday Sports Day, everyone. Vince Lombardi, George Halas, Chuck Noll, 3 legendary coaches. Don Shula is still adding to his legendary numbers. But how does Shula compare with other sideline immortals? That's the subject of our face-off.
It is time for Face-Off, our weekly war of words, wit, and wisdom. And today, Don Shula, the coach of the Miami Dolphins, bids for a record-tying 324th NFL victory. Does this make Shula, in his 31st season, the greatest coach ever? Or is Vince Lombardi, whose NFL head coaching career lasted only 10 seasons, still number 1? The coach from the Sun Belt or the coach from the Ice Bowl? The running back from John Carroll or the pulling guard from Fordham? Who's the greatest? That's the subject of our face-off today between Bob Ryan of the Boston Globe and Mike Lupica of the New York Daily News. And Ryan kicks off.
Mike, I haven't come to trash anybody. A lot of great coaches in the history of this league.
I love it when you take the high.
A lot of great coaches in the history of this league. But the other day I looked up in football dictionary and it said definitive NFL coach. And guess what? It was just one picture. Don Shula. 31 years. He's averaged 10 wins a year. To me, case closed.
Vince Lombardi is one, and then I would take two guys ahead of him in recent times, Bill Walsh and Joe Gibbs. If it's just longevity that counts, then Warren Spahn and Christy Matthews and those guys must be the greatest baseball pitchers, and you would dismiss somebody like Sandy Koufax. He's a great coach, Bob. I don't think anybody's come here to trash anybody today, but he has gone 20 years without winning the Super Bowl, and I just wonder if any coach or manager of his stature ever went that long without winning the big game.
Well, he's gotten to the Super Bowl.
I understand.
Once you get there, you know that
anything can happen in a short series, sure.
Well, that's exactly correct. He's gotten there. He's done it over the course of time with more different teams. He's overcome all the changes of society. He's made the adjustments a lot of other guys couldn't make or wouldn't make, chose not to make. He's done all this, and he's every bit as modern in 1993 as he was considered to be modern in 1973.
All right, Vince Lombardi inherits a 1-10-1 team. So what he did in his 10 years at Green Bay is probably the greatest coaching job ever. Joe Gibbs wins 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks, and Bill Walsh comes along and not only wins 3 Super Bowls, he changes the way pro football looks. Shula is great. I wouldn't put him in the class of any of those 3 guys.
You can take all those accomplishments, the 4 Super Bowls of Walsh and all this, but there's one accomplishment that only one man has that they all would give a lot for.
A job?
One man went 17-0. One man and one team. And all the others have tried, and they've all said, well, it's so tough to go undefeated. Just the pressure builds up. One man did it, and that monument, that is a monument that the others would like to have.
Were you just being kind by not mentioning that Lombardi beat Shula 7 out of 11 times?
I was being kind because, you know what, sometimes it's like a bug for a jockey. You know, I just try to make it a more fair argument.
Which is 4 minute stages.
Okay. Hold on. Christine Brennan and Mitch Albom will join Mike Lupick on the Sports Reporters coming up on the hour. They'll tackle the NFL, the NCAA, the NBA, and most of the other letters in the alphabet. Robin?
Riddick Bowe and Evander Holyfield will also face off next Saturday in Vegas. In just a bit, we'll relive that historic 10th round in their first encounter. Coming up next, we'll look ahead to the upcoming NBA season. Will the Bulls be celebrating again at the end of this season now that Michael Jordan is gone? We'll hoop it up next.
Imagine a cold tablet that keeps symptoms from coming back 24 hours. New Effadac 24. Sudafed lasts 6 hours, Tavist 12. But one Effadac gives consistent relief 24 hours. Effadac keeps cold symptoms from coming back.
Been a long time since I've seen him play.
Best there was at the hot corner.
Time!
Want to play?
Let's see if he still has it.
When the game is over, pride is something you wear.
Did you used to be Brooks Robinson?
I still am. Palm Beach Blazer of champions.
Hey, Brooks, how about a comeback?
That was it, guys. Some guys never lose it.
You are here. She has the traveler's checks here. What can you do? Well, carry American Express checks for 2. The only traveler's checks that one of you purchase, but either of you can use. Don't leave home without them.
You can see all the NFL action every Sunday. Sit back. Let us do the work. ESPN NFL Primetime. We'll find every bone-crushing hit, search out every key play, and mix insight from our pros into television's fastest hour of football. NFL Primetime. Tonight at 7 Eastern, only on ESPN.
Gradually, it's just going to work its way out of me, which is the way I want it to be, actually. I don't want it to hit me all at once and, you know, I collapse and I'm down for 2 or 3 weeks, you know, because I still got to live on. Yeah. And I make sure that people around me live on, so.
Have you shed enough tears yet, do you think?
No.
Or are you trying to repress the tears?
Yeah, I let them go whenever I need to. Okay. I don't repress them. I don't want to know.
You don't?
No. Because it probably would hurt me even more. Just to know their reasons, because if it is, it's going to be totally meaningless to the reason, and it's better that I don't know.
The death of Jordan's father came on the heels of Reggie Lewis's sudden passing. It has been a most difficult off-season. We, of course, can't forget about those losses, but the time has come to look ahead and concentrate on the upcoming season, which gets underway on Friday. Jack Edwards has more.
More than $100 million. That's what Toronto will pay to get into the NBA in 2 years.
Oh, Canada.
The Bulls reached across national boundaries to sign Tony Kukoc. Likewise, the Celtics with Dino Raja. And the Bullets drafted a curiosity named George Murazan.
I like this game.
You'd have to like it if you're making money in it. Free agents who moved: Craig Elo to Atlanta, Ken Norman to Milwaukee, Sleepy Floyd to San Antonio, Tom Chambers to Utah, AC Green to Phoenix, Avery Johnson to Golden State. Chris Dudley to Portland in a deal which could make him a free agent again next summer. The NBA didn't like that. A federal court told the league to live with it. Manute Bol goes to Miami, and Moses Malone returns to Philly. You remember Moses. He's been the property of teams here, 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 and here again. Back with the Sixers to teach a young fella new tricks. Sean Bradley could make a down payment on a small country. Chris Webber to Golden State. Emphasis on golden. Anthony Hardaway, Magic. Jamal Mashburn, Dallas. Speaking of Dallas, how about JR? Don't call him JR anymore. Call the Minnesota rookie Isaiah. Chris Jackson has changed his name. It's Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. Trading places. The Pistons acquired Sean Elliott. The Spurs got DeHare. Not DeHare, he plays for the Cliffs. DeHare and Dennis Rodman underneath. Harvey Grant was sent west to Portland. Kevin Duckworth will weigh in with Washington. Speaking of heavyweights, Benoit Benjamin went to New Jersey. Sam Bowie to the Lakers. 3 teams pulled off a chain reaction deal. Kendall Gill landed in Seattle. Eddie Johnson and Hersey Hawkins in Charlotte. Dana Barros and Greg Graham in Philly. It was the principal, of course, which brought most of the coaching changes. Quinn Buckner begins in the basement in Dallas. Don Chaney goes to Motown. Mike Fratello takes over in Cleveland. Lenny Wilkins left for Atlanta. He could have had the Clippers job. L.A. settled for Bob Weiss. Brian Hill is the Magic's new man. And there's Larry Brown. He's coached here, 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 and here, and now here, Indiana. Moving on principal each time, of course. Oh, by the way, Michael Jordan retired. So does Charles Barkley pick up the torch. Barkley collapsed at practice and later suggested this would be his last season. Karl Malone will be around for a while, having set an unofficial record for renegotiating for the 3rd time in 8 years. Clyde Drexler likes that word, renegotiation. The Blazers don't share his enthusiasm. Where is it all headed? The New Jersey Nets offered to make Derek Coleman the highest-paid NBA player in history. Derek balked. Not enough.
More money, more money. Evander Holyfield hopes to avenge his loss in the ring last November to Riddick Bowe. Quite a memorable 10th round between these two. We'll take a look back next.
You protect yourself inside your car. Protect yourself under the hood, too.
Walmart helps you take care of your car and your budget.
Haviland Formula 3 provides complete engine protection. Or try Haviland Synthetic Motor Oil for better protection for the long run. Either way, you add more life to your car.
And because we always sell for less, Walmart's better protection too.
Like a seatbelt for your wallet. Walmart. Always the low price, always.
How to identify the mountain man. Should be easy. I mean, doesn't a mountain man only live in really cold climates? Always go to bed when the sun sets? Wear a cowboy hat at all times? Actually, the easiest way to identify a mountain man is by his beer. Smooth Bush beer, or easy drinking Bush Light, the 2 cool beers of the mountain man. So, be a mountain man. All you gotta do is head for the mountains.
Take 64 really big men. Add 1 ton of olive oil. And toss lightly. See it, believe it. Amazing Games tomorrow night on ESPN.
Sports Weekly is brought to you by Smooth Bush Beer and easy drinking Bush Lights, and by Walmart. Always the low price, always.
The people at Caesar's Palace in Vegas are trying real hard to get everybody up for next week's big event, Bo Holyfield 2, the rematch. Or should I say, the mismatch. I think they'd have better luck selling tickets if they booked Bert and Lonnie. Now that fight would be hair-raising. Obviously, Evander has yet to learn something important about fighting Bo. Size counts. Maybe he should get shoes that pump up his whole body. Of course, by now, he should be an expert with fancy footwork, dancing around the ring and stuff. That's what he's got Hammer for, right? Anyway, everybody knows Riddick doesn't like to break a sweat or fight more than 2 minutes for his paycheck. The champ's a busy man. He's got more important things to spend his time on, like hanging around Sherwood Forest. The last time they fought, Evander went the distance and his face swelled up to the size of a pumpkin, so he got rid of Luduva. This time it could be worse. If he goes the distance again, his face could end up looking like Luduva.
Repeat or revenge? That's what the Riddick-Bowe Evander Holyfield rematch is being called, and many wouldn't mind seeing a repeat of that spectacular 10th round the first time these two fought. Charlie Steiner was ringside then, and that's where he'll be for the rematch on Saturday. Charlie is already in Las Vegas to begin our coverage.
Good morning and welcome to Las Vegas. And this is the arena where Evander Holyfield and Riddick-Bowe will have at it for the heavyweight championship of the world this coming Saturday night. 51 weeks ago, here in Las Vegas at the Thomas & Mack Center, about a mile from here, Holyfield and Bowe engaged in what was probably the fight of the year in 1992. And as far as the 10th round was concerned, it was one of the single greatest rounds ever fought in heavyweight championship history. Had a chance to sit down with both Bowe and Holyfield to gain their insights on what was going on inside the ring that night and inside their heads.
I realized that, you know, I'm facing a big guy that probably physically stronger, but, you know, in my mind, technical-wise, that, you know, I was a better fighter. If I fight a smart fight, I'm going to beat him all night and all day.
It's kind of like going through an exam, but you got to go up against the professor. And I consider Evander Holyfield to be the professor. But this professor here, I had to, you know, get rid of because I will be teaching class next.
As the challenger, Bowe entered the ring first, awaiting the arrival of the champion.
You know, it's funny, believe it or not, I said to myself, you know what? This will be the last time I come into the ring first.
At what point in the fight did you get a sense that you were beginning to make him a believer?
In the second round. I think when we exchanged blows, I think I got the better of that exchange, and he felt my power.
The conventional wisdom prior to the first fight was that Holyfield would have to outbox the bigger and stronger challenger.
This is not what you want to be doing now.
No, you know, exactly. That wasn't in the game plan. Right now, I'm mad to the point right now because he's hitting on the brakes and stuff like that, and now my mind have shifted to the point that, you know, I actually want to knock him out instead of just going through this long process of fight.
Well, it's my job to make his game plan, you know, to come undone. You know, I'm in there to make him do what I want him to do, not what he wants to do.
Through the first 9 rounds, Bowe was controlling the tempo and the pace, but the best was yet to come. The two fighters were approaching the climactic 10th round in dramatically different ways.
Coming into the 10th round, I realized I'm buying a little time. You know, I'm like, I ain't ready to work yet.
At this point, I'm in the corner. I said, Papa Smurf, I'm gonna go take him out this fight. He said, go get him.
You feel like you're winning at this point?
Oh, definitely, without a doubt.
Did you get us? Tell me about that uppercut.
See, Evander was holding my left hand, and he just let me hit him, you know, with the right hand, as you can see, and I just brought it up to the head. He really wasn't expecting that.
I'm in a relaxed stage, and as you see here, relaxing, he hit me with the right uppercut, and which actually hurt me. But other than that, really, he never get another clean shot throughout the whole time.
Were you surprised you couldn't put him down?
I wasn't surprised that I couldn't put him down. I was surprised that he could take so much punishment and still be standing. And then launch this comeback. But I have to be quite honest with you. At this point, I was exhausted.
I feel that it's to my advantage now because he had thrown so many punches, and then none of the punches actually count because he really didn't prove that because he was hitting me on the arm, which it looked very impressive for the crowd, and the crowd's going crazy. But the shots that I'm hitting him, I'm actually hitting him.
What's going on here?
What's going on? I'm getting hit. Can't you see? No, actually, Evander was throwing shots, but I was more fatigued than anything. I don't think his shots had, you know, any effect on me.
So here's 11.
Evander tried to hold me like he did the last time, and I was waiting for this moment. So when he did it, I knew I would go underneath and hit him with the right hand.
That shot there really, that's the first shot that I ever been hit that pretty much, that, you know, affected my whole, you know, my whole body throughout the whole fight. You know, I realized even watching myself here, you know, it's just sure instincts now.
After the 11th round, Holyfield needed a knockout to win. Riddick Bowe needed only to survive.
They tell me that, you know, I really had to suck it up. You know, I need this last round.
What's Eddie saying to you? So keep your distance?
Hell, Evander, don't start me lying. At this stage in the fight, you ham, but you don't ham. I was too tired to respond.
How tired were you at this point?
I was tired and tired. I knew I had won. If I were able to survive the 12th round, I would be the new heavyweight champion of the world.
And new heavyweight champion of the world, Riddick Big Daddy Bowe!
Riddick Bowe will defend his title once again against Evander Holyfield this Saturday night. And this Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on SportsCenter, we'll have the weigh-in live for Bowe and Holyfield. And coming up a bit later on this Sunday morning edition of SportsCenter, we'll pay a visit to Muhammad Ali, the man who invented these outdoor fights here in Las Vegas. For now, Charlie Steiner, ESPN at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas, sending it back to SportsCenter.
All right, Charlie. Many experts in the boxing community consider the 10th round of the Bowe-Holyfield fight the best in boxing history. A check of the numbers shows that Bowe landed an amazing 71% of his punches, while Holyfield connected on 61%. The two fighters combined to land 65% of their punches, which by comparison was 15 better than the first round war between Hagler and Hearns. More rounds left to go here on Sunday Sports Day. I'll be back in 30 minutes with the Sunday morning edition of SportsCenter. We have a special treat for you, like Charlie said. We'll spend time with the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali. Chris Berman will also be along with news and notes from the NFL. Boomer has a great deal to say about Don Shula, who is on the verge of tying the NFL record for most victories with Papa Bear Hallis. That and a great deal